Hey everybody, welcome to DigiDate with Kevin. Today we are going to be coloring this adorable chibi image up here on the screen. This is popping up to say Happy Easter. So I hope that everyone is going to enjoy coloring this with me. I'm going to be going over how everything is done, how I kind of pick the colors, and all kinds of fun stuff like that. So right now I do have my Copic color chart up in front of me. I find having the Copic color chart is pretty awesome. One, you can see all your colors. So I often use the color chart, the hand color chart by itself. However, I do sometimes also use the hex chart, and this is the hex chart by Sandy Alnock. It's been around since at least 2014, and this gives you really nice blends. So I'm going to show you how I went ahead and how I chose my colors. So we have our image, which is our cute little bunny hiding and popping out of the grass here. So, and hopefully everybody can see me and hear me okay, by the way, too. Oh, I see Rebecca and I see Michelle. Hi, thank you for joining me. So here is how I've done it. So I kind of went through, and this is how I always kind of work things out. I go through and I decide on what do I want to do with my image? How do I want to color it? And I kind of decide by, again, going through that Copic chart. So I kind of look through and I'm like, okay. And honestly, what I did was I was like, okay, I don't want the bunny white and I didn't want to have like a colored bunny, like something like pink or blue. So I looked at my toner grays and I was like, do you know what? I thought that the W's, like the warm grays, would make a good choice for bunny color. So I went through and I picked out my W7, my W5, my W3, my W1, and W00. And then I was like, okay, what's next? I'm like, okay, I want a nose. And the nose, I chose the RV06 and RV04 because I just kind of went through on the chart and I was like, all right, here's two colors. I know they're going to go well together. Same with the ear color. So the ear color is RV32, RV11, even though it looks like RV18 or something I've written here, and RV10. And again, I just went through and I kind of just checked and I was like, okay, RV32, it's that kind of pink. And then I was like, okay, what's a little bit lighter? Then I was like RV11 and then RV10. And sometimes on this chart, it's not always where you think things should be or what a blend could be. Like if you look here, we have that RV32. Where do we have it on this chart? Right? Nope, that's not it. Right over here. So we do have it by the RV11, but the RV11 isn't next, or the 10 isn't next to it. So I just kind of created my own thing. So then with our Ys, which is the tie, I was like, okay, let's get a nice bright tie in there. So I chose the Y17, and here you got to look, because Y17 is darker than Y18, which you would think it'd be Y18 is darker, and then the 17. However, in this Copic list, that's not how it is. Hey, Annie, thanks for joining. So I chose the Y17, then the Y18, because you go Y17, you can see right underneath, it's lighter. And then I went to Y06, which is that lighter yellow. Then for my grasses, I decided that I was going to choose a different color for the short grass and a different color for the tall grass. So I've chosen YG97, YG95, and YG93. And when we look here on the chart, we see 97, 95, 93. They just follow in a line. So we know it's going to easily blend. And then with our G's, I went with G94, 82, and 12. So we look here into our G's. Here we have our 9-4. And then I was like, okay, I want something lighter. G82. And then I was like, okay, lighter than that. And then I went, you know what, all the way to G12. So that's usually how I pick my colors. I kind of look at the chart first. Then here is next step, for me anyway. What I like to do is it going to blend? And usually the answer is yes, but sometimes I like to check. So here we have our W7, 5, 3, 1, and 00, and I put them right in a row. my RV06 and RV04, put them right in. Do they blend? They do. My YG97, 95, 93, we pretty much know they're going to blend, but just in case. Again, our G94, G82, and G12 right here in a row. I know that's going to blend. 17, 18, 06. So we know that the 06 is quite a bit lighter, so we're going to need a little bit more blending space on that. And then our RV3, 2, 11, and 10. And again, with the 10, it's a little bit lighter. So you're going to have to give yourself some room to blend that lighter color. So now we're going to toss those aside. So I did cut out an A2 card base, and I chose a light blue. So what I've done to speed up today's live and this video is I pre-did the background. So when you notice this, you're going to see that this image looks a little bit wonky. So here's two things that you can do. So depending on how you printed yours out, what I went and did was I just erased the top half of the bunny for the second printing, and then I cut it out of here because the sentiment was like off the side, so I just cut that out. Then I used our grass stencil builder and our cloud builder stencil, and I did some grass. I did some grass, and I used the Distress Oxides, and then I did our clouds, and I used the cloud stencil builder upside down. So after that, I sprayed it with water, and then I added some Distress Oxide spray to it just to get this background. So with the first image I printed, I did cut it out because I'm going to be placing it right on top here. So this is the image I'm going to be coloring along with the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop up this image with pop dots after. So I wanted this to have a little bit of a layered effect where he's actually feels like he's peeking up from the grass. So that's why I decided to separate this image into two, because I thought it'd be kind of cute if he was actually like popping up to say hi and to say Happy Easter. And then lastly, I just kind of cut out my little sentiment here, inked it up with a little bit of yellow. It'll be going on here, and I think we'll add some pop dots in the end. So let's go ahead and start coloring, because I think that's what we're all here for. All right, so I have all my Copics lined up in order that I want to go, because I decided I need to be neat and organized. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with our... What are we starting with? We're going to be starting with our W's. So I went ahead and I made sure that they are labeled on the screen for you right here. So we have W7, W5, W3, W1, and W00. So this should help you follow along today with me. So I'm going to start with our W7. That's our worm grain number 7. And I'm going to be doing the body and the face all together. We're just going to be going once through with the coloring today. So hopefully I don't go too fast or too slow for anyone that's watching. And if you are watching, say hi and let me know you're here. All right, so I'm going to start with the W7, and I'm going to be using it in where I want the darker parts to be. So I'm going to have that into the bottom of the image right here. I'm going to do a little bit into his paws to the right. And what I'm going to do is have the dark kind of coming from around the back. So I'm going to kind of have it towards the bottom and to the outside a little bit. So here on either side. And just so if you're wondering, and sometimes it's harder with images and you're like, when it's not colored, it's like, what am I coloring? Right here, this necktie, I'm just letting you know, that's going around his neck. So he doesn't have like a shirt or something where you're like, okay, what is that? So this line here, it's all a tie. So he's kind of like a naked fur bunny, but he's wearing a tie. So just to throw that out there right now. All right, so continuing on with our W7, I'm going to go around his cheeks and up to the side just below his whisker. And same up the other side. And we're just going to put a little bit in here as well. And I'm just following it up just a little bit up to under his ear, and then I stop. Very true. Bunnies don't usually wear clothes. I'm just reading some of the comments, and Rebecca said, I mean, bunnies don't usually wear clothes, so it makes sense. Very much it does. All right, so I'm going to take that W7, and I'm going to run it just a little bit onto the outer edge of his ear and stop at the tip where it curves around. And again, we're going to go right up to the top and stop right at the curve there. And then that is going to be it for my W7. Next up is our W5, which is our warm gray, number 5, obviously. All right, so we're going to just go over what we colored a bit. And we're just going to be adding that in over his paw a little bit more and extend it a little bit higher. And now I'm going to go around his cheek again. And we're going to bring that up. So I'm just going over what I just colored and extending slightly beyond. So here, I'm not going quite to the knot of his tie. And then bringing that up. And then I'm going to go on the inside of this ear. Around, and I'm extending slightly further than what I colored last. And you might run out of room between here, and that's okay when you go around on this pass. So that is our W5. Next up is our W3. So we're going to be going to add that in a little bit more. So Rebecca just commented that she really struggles with the fine lines of the shadows. I'm going to say I do too. I just try and go slow and even and try to use light pressure with just a tip. And if anybody has pressure problems, I always say, if this is where you're holding your marker and you find you have pressure problems, do this. If you back your hand up on your marker, you're going to naturally use a little bit less pressure. You're less likely to push as hard when you're holding it back further. So sometimes that helps for some people. So now with this W3, I'm going to go over everything I just kind of colored. I'm still kind of keeping on the outside a little bit. And I'm going to go right under his chin. And I'm going to start to bring that up right and past his little raised eyebrow there. And right to the top of his ear. So now with this W3, what we're going to do now is I'm going to take the W3, I'm going to outline his mouth and go up to just under his nose and do those two little lines, and then I'm going to outline his eyebrows just so we get that color in there. Hey Timothy, thanks for stopping by. So next we're going to go in with our W1, our warm gray number 1. And this is our second last color, so we're going to just fill in his paws right there. Get a little closer to that tie. Also, I'm going over everything I previously colored now. Oh, and do you know what I did? I'm going to go back. I forgot his ears with the W3. Oh no! So we're going to go over what we colored with our W3. We're going to spin around. Now I'm touching that line, and then I'm coming back right in around his ear there. And then go up and around, spinning in. And we're going to stop right there. And then I forgot, we're going to go across the top right there with that W3, but not connecting in the middle. All right, back to the W1. Sorry about that. All right. So with our W1, we're filling it in a little bit more. I'm kind of going over what I've already colored, and I'm extending through. And for this part, I'm kind of also using the side of my marker to get a blend. And I'm going to go all the way around now. So I'm kind of starting to create a circular shape in here, right about to his eye there. And we're going to go around and around. And then I'm going to go back in over his ear with the W1, and I'm going to bring that down. And now we've got him colored with the W1. Our next final color is going to be W00. So that's our warm gray 00. And there is a 0, but I wanted to go extra light. And I'm just going to hit those insides of the paw, the outside of the tie, and underneath. And I'm going right up to the nose, but not on the nose. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to also blend it out. And then on the inside edge of that ear, I'm just going to use that to blend through up in the top here a little bit. And down in there. And here I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit off on this like circular motion here with this eye. So I can go through, I can close that up just a little bit more under his mouth here. Over the top of his nose. So I'm going to close that in a little bit tighter, just so he kind of has like almost like a little bit of a snout. Does he have a snout? Sure he does. So our bunny doesn't have a completely flat face. I think he's looking pretty cute so far. So that was our W's. So next up from our W's, we're going to go to our RVs. Where is my RV? Nope. I'm looking. Thought I put it in here. Oh, here it is. All right. So we're going to be using RV 32, RV11, and RV10 for the ears. So we're going to be starting with our darkest color first. So that is our RV32, our shadow pink. So with this, I'm going to add a little bit more of this darker pink to the bottom. And again, I'm keeping that darker part to the outside parts of his ear. So that's our RV32. Next up is our RV11, which is just our Copic pink. And we're going to extend out from where we colored and over a little bit more. Extend up and over and around. And the ears are super easy. And then RV10 or RV10 are pale pink. And then our pale pink, I'm going to start from bringing it from light to dark. So instead of going from the dark out where I pull out, I'm going to push in. So I'm going to start on the lightest part, and then I'm going to push it back. Because with Copics, it spreads the alcohol and it spreads the ink and your color around. So if I started into the dark first, I would be lightening up this dark, and I would also be bringing this darker color into that white space. So what I want to do is do the opposite. I want to make sure I keep my clear pink in here first and then push it out into the dark to make sure that that area starts and stays light. And now we have 2 cute pink little bunny ears. Next up, we need a little nose. So our nose is going to be RV06 and RV04. So our RV06 is our cerise, which is, I believe, cherry in French. So it's a tiny, 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 tiny little spot. Do you have a lot of place to blend? No. So we're going to put one tiny singular dot right at the bottom of the nose. And then we're going to go in with that RV04, which is shock pink. And do you have to do 2 colors in such a tiny spot? You know what? You don't. But if I can add a little bit of depth in any way that I can, I at least try. So that was our RV04 in the nose. And now we're going to move on to the tie. So the tie, we can see right here, down right there, is Y17, Y18, and Y06 in that order. And I would love to see people's cards when they are finished. I know a few years ago is when we did this. I think it's been a couple years, and we released another bunny image from this. And I think it was called, was it from the For Peeps' Sake release, which was an original style from Stamp Anything. And I know some people posted cards, and they were super fun to see. So I'd love to see people post them on our Stamp Anything Stampers page. All right, so we're starting with our Y17, which is our golden yellow. Yes, I thought I'd try something new. Rebecca said she likes that the Copic colors are on the screen. So I thought that would be easier for everybody. Sometimes it's like, oh, it's the lid. I'm like, are we going to get? But, okay, so now, Michelle, you asked what kind of paper do I use? And I use Hammer Mill, I think it's 110 pound color cover stock. It is what I would say a majority of the design team uses, and many other design teams as well. It tends to just take the color the best. It has the good blend. It doesn't bleed, where some other papers do. Even Copic's own paper sometimes is not great. And you can see too that you're getting that nice bleed through. That means you've got good saturation going on. So that is good as well. All right. So that Y17, again, I'm going to be using it on the outside edges into the bottom. I'm going to bring it in from the corner of this neck piece right here. And I'm just going to just tap it into the knot. So that was our golden yellow. Now we're going to Y18, which is our lightning yellow. And we're going to go again over and up. I'm leaving the center. I'm going to go on this. I'm going to go on the bottom and bring it out, and then just a touch on the sides here. So I'm leaving that center of the knot. Again, do you need to use 3 colors? Hey, if you want to use 3 colors, use 3. If you want to use 4, use 4. If you want to use 1, use 1. Coloring is individual and personal. I'm showing you one way. There are countless ways to do it. So next is our Y06, which is just yellow. It's not an exciting name. It's just yellow. So our yellow is going to go right in the center of this tie, center of that knot, and right under the neck. And then we'll just blend it just very gently, and he's got a nice cute little yellow tie. Now if you wanted to, you could use like a fine tip marker and add in some like little dots. Haven't thought about it, but I'm like, oh, maybe I'll try. Let's try something. So I just grabbed my white gel pen, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe we can make it like a polka dot tie, just a little bit. I'm kind of like, there. Might be hard to tell, but in the end, when I take a close-up picture, it should look a little better. But I think that looks pretty cute. Got a little speckles on his tie, make it a little more Eastery for sure. So now that we have this top part of our bunny, we are going to set him aside. There you go, Mr. Bunny. So now we're going to go here. So this is the part where I kind of masked it off. So we can see here, here's how our bunny is going to sit on this card, and he will be popped up. So I know I only have to color the grass. So, yeah, you can dot or stripe the inner. Yeah, true. You could dot or stripe the inner ears. You know what? Let's add a little bit of a stripe to the inner ear. Hey, why not? Let's see. I'm just adding like a very thin kind of sketch line, just like that. I think that looks cute. So thank you very much, Annie, for that you love the polka dots and for the stripe on his little inner ear. So when we look at our original colors that I picked out for the grass, and I kind of hold them up, I've decided that the darker grass, the YG97, is going to be for the small grass because it kind of, I feel, is going to blend into this color better. And we're going to leave that lighter grass to pop out on those bigger blades and then keep that light against his gray fur. So we're going to start with our YG97, our YG95, and our YG93, and that's going to be for the short grass here. So I did try to stay away from inking the grass as much as I could when I did the ink blending. And yes, and Annie loves her YGs. So I'm going to start with my YG97, which is our Spanish olive. And again, I'm going to be doing dark towards the bottom and outside. So right here, I'm just going to go on the outside edges of these blades. And a little bit in the bottom, but I'm not doing the ones that are too close here because I want to keep the ones that are right in the center light because I'm trying to keep that middle light. So when you are coloring, try to think about your colors, where you want your light parts, where you want your dark. Sometimes we have the light coming in from the left top hand side, shining down. Sometimes it's right from the top. Here, I'm sort of having the effect where the light comes in from bottom. So if you imagine my hand, it would be like the light is kind of like would be more in the middle, and it's getting darker to the bottom and to the right and the left hand sides. So now we're going in with our YG95, which is our pale olive. And we're going to go in and extend and go over our grass. And I'm starting to bring it a little bit more closer to the middle now. And I'm just adding a little bit. And then our YG93, which is just a grayish yellow. Fabulous color name. I don't know where they come up with. But we're going to go ahead and color in the rest of our grass. These like short blades anyway. And too, if you wanted, you could like have masked these off. You could have just stenciled right over it as well. So there I have my darkest bits of grass colored in there. And now we are on to our longer blades. So we're going to be thinking about this as well. Where is the light hitting? Where is the dark parts? So we're using our G's here. So let's get those G's up on the screen for everybody. Oh, I'm sorry. And do you know what? I forgot to change it to the YG, so I'm sorry. So we were on the YG 97, 95, and 93, so I apologize. Those are right here on the screen. So I apologize for not moving that slide, that overlay over. But now we are on to our G's, which are 9, 4, 8, 2, and 12. So again, I do apologize for that. So we're going to be starting with our G94, which is a grayish olive. So the grayish olive, so these tips right here, so this is completely folded over. So we're going to fill that right in because it's hanging in shadow. This one is folded over, but not as much. So we're not going to give it as much of that color. And then we're going to come up over the grass here and up the side. And then into the bottom here, around that grass. Then we're going to follow this blade up. And then we're going to bring it in from the corner. And then for this tip, we're going to bring it in from the corner or that tip of the blade and then back down. So you should have something that looks roughly about that right now. Next, we're going on to our G82. So our G82 is Spring Dim Green. Again, the colors, I don't know how we come up with these names. Copic, you got some special ones. Spring and dim together, not something I would have thought of, but who am I to name colors? All right, so we're taking our Spring Dim Green and we're going to lift that up from that dark place. From the dark place. We're going to lift it up from the dark place. Okay, so we're going to bring it out from where we colored in darker and extend out. And then we're going to start to slide it around that corner here. And we're going to bring it in and down, bring it in and over. And up a little bit. So that was our G82. And finally, we have our G12, which is Sea Green. So our sea green is our last color for this grass. And again, where I talked about going from lighter to darker, that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to start in my light sections, color that in first, and then bring that out to the dark. So here is where you're going to want to make sure that you've got everything nice and blended. So if you want to run over your whole grass blade a little bit now, just to make sure everything's feeling properly blended. And here where I had missed that entire blade, how did I do that? And what I'm going to do is, because I do have those paws still here, and I know we're not going to see them really, but just in case, I'm just going to go over with my W1, and I'm just going to color that in just a little bit right there. All right, now it is time to start assembling our card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my pop dots, which I have here. If you haven't seen me before, I love my pop dots. And again, and I thought it'd be super cute to use to have him kind of, it's popping up to say hi or popping up to say happy Easter, sorry. And I'm like popping up from the grass. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to throw our pop dots on here. And then we're going to put it on the background. We're going to add a few fun little pop dots, and then our card is finished. And I have been making Easter cards. We had our virtual crop the other night that Brennan hosted on the weekend on Saturday. Super fun. And I had a chance to get a bunch of cards colored up, images colored up that I'm going to be turning into cards for my neighbors, which is super fun. The week before, I had already finished Easter cards, so I was like ahead of time. I already got them sent out in the mail. Super excited that people are going to actually get their Easter cards on time this year. Woohoo! That never happens. All right, so we're just going to quickly peel that pop dots off. We'll get this together and our card will be finished. I love my pop dots. And Rebecca said it is a super cute and simple card, and that's kind of exactly what I wanted today. I wanted something that was like nice, super easy to color, wasn't going to take too long. You can do anything for the background. Literally, I was like, all right, what are we going to do? Well, grass, clouds, pretty simple, fits the theme. He's popping up from the grass, makes sense. And when you use distress oxides, it's so easy to just get that nice little blend, use a couple colors, spray it, and it looks fantastic and like you worked on it all day. So now we're going to place our rabbit right where he needs to go, or our bunny. Oh my gosh, see? I love that. I am so loving how he's just like popping right up from the grass there. So I'm going to take my G12 because I see a little bit of white right here. And we're going to just add that around his paws on the outside where there's a little bit of gray. And if you wanted to, if you're really kind of picky, you could fill this in with like a very, very light blue if you wanted. I'll probably do that at the end just before I end the card or like before I take my picture. I might just go in with like a B00 or something. Or like my B quad 0 probably. B quad 0 I think would be nice to kind of fill that in, or even the BG 000 might blend. Whatever, I'll kind of work it out. So now I'm going to put my sentiment on, and I want to pop that up as well. So we're just going to pop that up, and then I'm going to add my, what do you call them? Pop dots, because I think this card needed a little bit of something, and this card, again, is, if you've been here before, I've made other cards, and this one is for my 2-year-old neighbor. So I was like, well, she's got to get a card. I got a little tiny bag of Easter stuff that I know she's going to love. She actually loves to color, so I got her some more Crayola crayons, and she just loves coloring on her own. So I found these like little kids coloring pads, which is super cute. So I was like, oh, I'm like, this is gonna be adorable and stuff. She likes, and she likes purple. She knows how to say my name. It doesn't quite come out like Kevin. It's more like Cannon, but whatever. I'm gonna take it. I've been just enthralled with just like her learning to talk. It's so weird. I guess little babies, I'm not used to them. So this is me using too strong a tape to tape this down when I did my ink blending. And again, and I thought, I don't know, you guys can comment, let me know what you think in the comments. Is it okay that I did my background first? Would you have preferred if I didn't? But like right now we're at almost 40 minutes of making this card. So I just didn't want it to be too long for everybody. But here we go, placing it on the background. Okay, so if I had my brayer with me and didn't want to like run off camera, I would have like grabbed it. So I have some pop dots here. Do you know what? I think we're gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna go with the greens, and I'm gonna go large, medium, small. Again, simple. Just keeping it simple. And here we're gonna put one right there. Oops, we're gonna throw the pop dots around. Michelle said she loves watching me color. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that very much. Gives me confidence. So remember, you're talking to someone who just a few years ago, very short years ago, said, there is no way I am ever coloring anything. You can't teach me, and I don't want to learn. So And then here we are. So I think this is a cute, simple, easy card. I think it's pretty adorable, really. What do you guys think? If you like it, so here it is, popping up to say Happy Easter. So remember, if you're watching this on a replay on YouTube, this image is only available until April 1st at midnight. Then it goes back in the vault. It was only available for a very short time because this is one of Annie's original images before we went into the chibi style. So if you're watching this and it is before April 1st, 2024, I say run, don't walk to the website and grab this digital image while you can. This is popping up to say Happy Easter. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you could, and if you want to, give us a like, subscribe if you haven't, hit the bell icon to get notifications when we go live and when our new videos go up. And if you feel so inclined, please share. So thank you very much, everybody. Again, it has been awesome, and I will see you next time.